The Middle East Peace Run podcast with Pat Farmer is brought to you by HiVita, premium quality Australian-made supplements. Live the HiVita life at hivita.com.au, and Nut Roasters, the snack that can benefit your heart at nutroasters.com.au. Mahaba. It's Sue Padgett here. I'm the host of our Middle East Peace Run podcast. This is episode number 2. And after about 27 hours of travel time, we are finally in Beirut, Lebanon. It's absolute pinch yourself kind of stuff because none of us on the Pat Farmer crew have been here before. So it's even though we are pretty jet lagged and tired, we're kind of on an adrenaline high. And we've just finished dinner. I think you could call it what is it, guys? Do we have kebabs, or how would we describe what we just ate? It was takeaway for sure.
Yeah, kind of like a grilled chicken Lebanese wrap.
Yeah,
pickles and loads of garlic.
Really strong pickles. I mean, it was delicious, but man, we're like, whoa. This is Katie Walsh, and she's the logistics manager and fitness specialist, and she has a cool history with Pat. She ran and worked with Pat during his pole-to-pole adventure. We're just saying that we are sitting right now in a place, I think it's called Adma. Is that the suburb?
Adma, yep, that's correct.
And you were saying this looks and Pat Farmer here is here, of course, as well. And they were just saying this, where we're sitting right now is kind of overlooking the city and the sea. And Katie, you were saying it looks like something from Pole to Pole?
Yeah, it looks, it looks very similar to a few cities that we went through, but Pat and I were just sort of reminiscing on a particular town called Quito, which was in
Ecuador,
yeah, and just the mountain range, and you can't even possibly describe the view that we're looking at right now from our balcony. It's
wicked,
phenomenal, like right on the coastal line.
Let me give it a shot. We've got off to my right-hand side, I've got a beautiful harbour that's here, which is the harbour of Lebanon, the harbour of Beirut. And then rising directly out of the ocean are these beautiful mountains. And I think the reason why it reminds us both of Ecuador and also of Colombia is because the houses and the apartment blocks are built right onto the mountain all the way up the mountain. And so consequently, she went to
the shops. It's okay. We're just having a little moment here because we're trying to get Pat's food. Ming, she went to the shops. Yeah, we're just preparing everything for tomorrow. And Pat, you got something on your face. You got some hummus on your face, man. Where were you?
I don't know.
But that was not. I mean, it is really incredible. And I guess the big irony about the whole thing is, we're saying this beautiful house, the view is incredible, and Pat, you got to go running tomorrow. That's the pretty. You have it's such a heavy, huge day tomorrow when we're in this kind of luxury home and this beautiful vantage point.
Well, this is our base. What we've done. This is unusual to a lot of the runs I've done, and the reason why it's unusual is because we've got one single base for the whole of Lebanon. And we will return back to this home each night rather than have a different house or a different hotel accommodation in each of the locations that we finish off at. So we will finish each day of running around about 2 marathons per day, each day that I'm here in Lebanon, and indeed throughout the whole of this journey. And then what we will do is we'll mark with our GPS markers exactly where we leave the road in the towns that we run through. And the first town that I will run through is from the Cedars of Lebanon, which is up in the mountains. It's like a ski resort there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that tomorrow because it's the place I've heard so much about from so many of my friends that are Lebanese, about its beauty and the size of these magnificent cedar trees. And then we'll run from there. I was originally heading out towards Tripoli, but there is a present warning on from the Australian government for me not to go into Tripoli. There's a little bit of activity around there at the moment, and it's off and on around there. So one week there can be some trouble, and next week it's fine. But unfortunately, There's a little bit of trouble around that region at this point in time, so I've been advised not to go into there. So we'll scoot around the southern edge of Tripoli and then go on into a place called Cheka, which is out on the coastline there, right on the Mediterranean Sea. So it'll be magnificent scenery once again, and from there we'll follow the coastline all the way down. But as I was saying earlier on, then at the end of the day's journey we will return back to this place, which is approximately 25-30 k's north of Beirut City, and this is our base, our location, and then we'll head out from here again the next morning around about 4 a.m. and we'll start running at 6 a.m. in the morning from where I've left the road. So after tomorrow it will be Cheka, from Cheka to Byblos, and I'm looking forward to running with the Foreign Affairs Minister in Byblos and also the local mayor as I run on into Byblos the day afterwards, and then of course from Byblos on into Beirut. So we've got a few celebrities lined up. We've got Miss Lebanon is going to run with me as well, which is something I'm really excited about, and so is my camera crew just quietly. The boys anyway. And you know, we've got a few people that are very keen to run with me because they support and believe in the cause. The other interesting thing is that there is 2 fun runs that are going on here just the week after I finish in Lebanon. One will be in Beirut and the other one is in Tripoli, and they are fun runs to promote peace and peace in the region as well. So they are runs for peace as well. So this whole thing is gathering a lot of momentum. So once again, it emphasises the fact of what we can do through sport, what we can do with participating in events en masse together, and there's no better thing to do that with than a fun run or of course a marathon.
Yeah, I'm so curious what it's going to look like tomorrow when you're running through. Speaking of that, Katie and Pat, okay, so you are starting a big physical endeavor starting tomorrow. So what do you do? How do you approach the first day? What's your kind of mindset, and you know, how do you break in the body and the mind and everything? Is there a special strategy you do for the first day?
Well, look, I think, obviously, from Pat's perspective, he can tell you about his sort of visualization and prep for this. Obviously, he has a worldly amount of experience as far as doing events that no one else could possibly even relate to. Today, for example, I spoke to some fellow Australian athletes that we ran into in the international airport in Abu Dhabi, and they were just mind-boggled at the sort of feat that he was, you know, about to, commence. And
but they were cricketers.
Exactly, I was going to say. I was trying to hold it down.
They were cricketers. They were the Australian cricket side, and no offence, fellas, but
let's face it.
You run between the set of stumps. You don't run too far.
Snap.
But just to give an example, obviously, you know, an elite athlete, obviously, complete different spectrums of sports in general, but you know, the approach is completely individualised anyway for any person, let alone any elite athlete. From my perspective, as far as being a part of the support crew, and obviously, luckily I have a bit of experience under my belt with Pat. It does also help that we are family, so anything said on the run doesn't really get taken to heart.
And what's the family connection?
So Patrick's sister, Annette, is my mother.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So Katie's my niece, and the point that she's getting at with all of that is that it's a stressful situation when you're pushing your body to its limits, and the limits often depend on the weather conditions and the terrain that you have to run through, as well as the distance. So 2 marathons a day, every single day, with no days off. In this case, over 20 days. There's no two ways about it. Doesn't matter how good you are or how well prepared you are. It's hard work, and so mentally you have to be in the right place. And secondly, you have to surround yourself with the right people that don't take things to heart if you snap at them, because you need food or water there and then, or you need to change your jackets if it starts flooding down with rain, or if it's incredibly hot, sunscreen and bits and pieces like that. So the people that can almost read your mind and know what you'll be looking for next. And Katie's that person. Katie is without a doubt the best crew member that I've ever had, and it's why I've brought her along again on this journey. And each journey has its own challenges. So I've run further before over a bigger amount of days, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow's going to be an easy day for me or any of the days after that. They all have their own challenges, and this will be an incredibly tough event for me.
I have to say, when we were driving in, I thought that the traffic and the lack of places to run along the roads just in Beirut alone looked pretty hairy.
Yeah, that reminded me a little bit of a run that I did in Japan through Tokyo on up to a place called Kanzanao up on the coast. There's points in that event where you've got nowhere to run because of the vehicles, and somehow, some way you've got to make your way through it. And this place is a bit like that. So we're going to have to weave and duck a little bit as we come on into the cities, in particular Beirut and Byblos. But having said that, also we're going to take the coast road. We're looking the best we can as far as the traffic's concerned, trying to pick places where it's not too overcrowded, and you've just got to deal with the cards that you've got.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so important to have government permission and the support of the local police, because otherwise you simply can't run on these roads.
Yeah. Katie, just to follow up, tomorrow will you be doing, how are you going to help Pat tomorrow? Will you do anything different tomorrow to start off an event versus what you'll be doing, 5 days from now?
Not necessarily anything different. It's more about sort of, obviously, like I was saying before, knowing how to prep for something like this. So things like, I guess that people would take for granted aren't going to be a huge issue on events such as this. Things like blisters or even, sunburn, so skin exposure to the sun. So Pat tends to get quite dry lips and obviously wind chapped. So things like that we really have to monitor on these sort of events for obvious reasons. He's going to be exposed to, various conditions, wind, rain, extreme heat, obviously sun, and obviously extreme cold conditions as well.
Like we start cold tomorrow, I think.
But you'll find, during the day it'll start to heat up. And so you basically start at one end of the spectrum as far as temperature and then travel on through to the other. So things like that we have to stay on top of, and obviously we've prepared for that. So we've got things for blisters and obviously, sunscreen and protection for his lips and things like that.
And I guess you hit a kind of stride, like the first day. Is it kind of feeling the whole thing out?
Absolutely. As Pat said, he's definitely run far further distances, etc. Except just as any event is concerned and any athlete knows, you need to take each event or each competition, etc. individually because they're all going to have their own individual challenges. I think luckily because we are used to working together, we've already had a few sort of hiccups just in transit, but you stay calm and you deal with the cards that you're given when you're given them.
Yeah, we have had some issues during transit, haven't
logistics, we? Well, logistics and communications and vehicles and things like that. A lot. It's always a bit of a hassle, but they're also the things that make me more determined to do the run itself, because the planning that's gone into this has been in excess of 9 or 10 months. So there's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. I was only saying to Brooke when we were flying in today, how it was amazing. I was sitting around my kitchen just 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. I was sitting in my kitchen looking at the maps on the kitchen bench top of the places that I would be running through, and we flew over the top of Aqaba in Jordan, and we flew over the top of the Red Sea there. And I could see the road down below us that I would be running down through. That's the road that comes down from Jordan, from Petra and on into Aqaba, and I could see that as clear as could be. And then, of course, we headed across the coast, and we were just south of Gaza on one side, and then on the other side, of course, we were on the Egyptian side, and then on out into the Mediterranean Ocean. So I could actually see the roads that I would be running on and the desolation of those desert areas. On one extreme, it made me feel incredibly excited, and on the other extreme, it made me feel incredibly scared of what I was about to take on again, because it reminded me of all the pain I've been through in past events.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks to Mojave Desert and Trans-American Foot Race.
Yeah. Well, and as
And you've done Simpson Desert.
yeah, and as Katie said earlier on, my lips, they split open. I think of them as like the Grand Canyon. They split open wide, and my lips normally bleed profusely during the course of these events. And it's really difficult for me when this happens, because it's those things that become so annoying. And there's actually a lot of weak spots in my lips and some of the other skin areas of my lips and my nose and my ears from the Pole to Pole run, from the Vietnam run, from the Simpson Desert run, and from the Race Across America and numerous other runs. So you keep getting this accumulated effect where you have to be more and more careful each time, and that's where I really, really, really rely on Katie to watch out for me and make sure that I've got all the necessary things. And it's one of the reasons why I'm taking vitamins as well, as I need to supplement my diet. I need to make sure that the high vitamins are the correct potency that I need to be able to take to protect my body through the extremes, and to make sure I don't break down and I can stay with a very healthy immunity system, because otherwise the amount of mileage I'm doing is very, very easy to get sick, and the whole thing's just lost then.
Yeah, it's amazing what the effect it has on your body and how you have to protect. Just to bring a bit of culture into this, and then I'm going to let you guys go, because it's coming from Australia, where we're in a completely different culture right now, and I know that I really wondered what it would be like over here, and there's certain different protocols or different attitudes that you have to have, and I know for Katie and me and Brooke, it's just we're going to have to cover up to just be courteous and just mindful of culture. I mean, I think that's respect. It's really down to respect more than anything. But those are certain practicalities females have to have. But I think from just coming like with the government, with things that are sensitive over here, what are some of the things that you notice or want to talk about as far as that goes?
Well, Sue, you hit the nail on the head. I think the most important thing is that we respect the cultures of the countries that we're running through. I mean, when anybody comes to Australia, we expect them to embrace the Australian way. And
to wear thongs, to wear hats with corks.
Well,
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Well, just to respect our laws, our customs, the way that we are and the way that we do things, our road rules, etc., and not feel like they can just do whatever they like. And so it's the same with us whenever I travel, and same with my crew. Whenever we travel, we're very mindful of the culture and the people, and I think it just comes down to just sheer politeness, and that's what this whole journey is about. At the end of the day, I'm trying to bring peace to people through community spirit, through working together side by side, through going through some hard times together side by side. Now that may be through the marathon, or it might be through just sharing a short distance with me, but it's amazing how you have this empathy for your fellow human being when you go through tough times. So, such is the nature of the marathon and the fun runs, and so I'm really just reaching out to everybody and just saying that I have the greatest respect for them and their culture, and we're all one in humanity. And so, if you just take that approach and you're polite about it and you smile a lot, I mean, most people, doesn't matter where in the world you are, you can get by.
Yeah, you feel it here.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's just like traveling anywhere, though. That's the beauty of this world. Like, you travel to different places with different cultures so that you can experience that, so that you can get to know the people and how they live, and, all sorts of walks of life that they've come from, and learn their stories. And that's that's why you travel, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned. So
It's the
I
differences
just-
that are fabulous, isn't it?
yeah, and I think it's all to do with attitude, really. Like that's what makes this world so fantastic, and more importantly, I think that's why everyone's embraced us so
Yeah.
lovingly, and they've all been like, we've just had nothing but a fantastic experience, and we haven't even been in the country for 24
No.
hours. Like that, everyone's been so polite, so kind, and more than accommodating towards us.
Yeah.
And I just think, it needs to be said that you just approach it as if you were going anywhere. Bali, New Zealand, United States.
People are people.
Absolutely.
I like the
And it's-
differences, though. It is total pinch yourself kind of situation
it's
being
fantastic.
here, isn't it?
I'm so excited to
Yeah.
see it. But obviously, you make sure you've got a good head screwed on your shoulders, and you go in there with an educated judgment of the places that you plan on travelling to, and you treat people with respect. But that's just common humanity. That's
Yeah.
how it should be.
Susan, one of my sponsors, Mohammed Alfouni, his family come from one of the villages just east of Tripoli, so we'll be going very close to there and around that region tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that as well, because he told me that there would be a number of people that he knew that would be looking for us out on the road to come and run with us. So that's a great thing. So there's quite a number of people that are aware of who we are, why we're here, and they're looking forward to running with us, and we're trying to get the message out there to as many people as possible. Just get out if you hear these messages, if you know where we are, and you can track us down on the website, patfarmer.com. You can see exactly where I am from one day to the next, and you can get out there on the road with us and travel with us. But as I said just at the start of all of this, it was only 48 hours ago. I was sitting around my kitchen table and I was looking at these maps of other unusual places in the world that I would soon be travelling to with my crew. And here we are now overlooking Beirut Harbour from the balcony of a place up here in the hills. It makes me realise that the world is not such a big place after all, and that the things that we do in Australia and the attitudes that we have do affect the rest of the world, and the things that happen in the rest of the world do affect us in Australia. So it's most important that we're mindful of that, and we don't think to ourselves that we're insulated or isolated. And indeed, we need to look out for our fellow human beings, and that's what this run's all about. It's a run for humanity, a run for peace.
Yeah, wow. Okay, listen, it's going to be a big day. I really hope that both of you have a really beautiful night's sleep tonight, inshallah. Inshallah. And thank you so much. We'll have a good day tomorrow.
You bet.
We will.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Remember, you can subscribe on iTunes. We'll upload these as many times as we can, and all of our internet connectivity providing. But thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. To connect with Pat, visit his website at patfarmer.com. Like him on Facebook at Pat Farmer Ultra Marathon Runner, and follow him at Twitter at Pat Farmer Runner, #ME Peace Run.